Racism. This is a touchy subject, but God created the human race. Am I racist? Yes, I'm for the human race. As far as Christians, we need to be colorblind and ethnic blind. Okay, and sometimes it's hard to do. So what we need to look at is scientifically. Really, there's only three races: the Caucasoid, the Negroid, and the Mongoloid. And every ethnic group breaks out of those scientifically. Now, your ethnic background is not your race. It's your cultures, the type of food you eat, the clothes you might wear, the music you listen to. But that's not, okay, that's not your race. We need to get away from all this division in our races. It's in our ethnic backgrounds, our ethnic cultures. Back in 2010, the U.S. government put out that census, and I know that they're going to be coming out with another one pretty soon. I guess it's every 10 years, I guess. But it was really a lack of wisdom on the government to waste our tax money to ask some of those questions that they had done. One is that the census is trying to figure out how many Americans are living in America, in what regions, to get the number of representatives that's needed, the money that's needed for children, roads, the elderly, but to help those areas. And in some states that probably, depending on the number of people, should be Americans, okay? The number of people would be to what? Increase their representatives in government. But I noticed on the census that it was very biased, very biased. And that's something I want to touch on is that, it's and I sent a letter back with the census just to let you know. And I'm trying to read over some of this letter, and it's very detailed, but I don't have the original census to give reference to the actual numbers the questions, like question, 1, 2, 3, or 9, or whatever. But the point is that if you were born in the United States, okay, and I can't go around saying that I'm French American, because on my father's side I have a Cajun French ancestry. Some people have different backgrounds from China or Europe, okay, Africa, different ones, but that doesn't make them in other words, an African American, a French American, Chinese American. No, we're American. Many times people ask, today it's become so politically correct, it's just a shame. But people say they're African American, and I'll ask them, I say, well, where were you born in Africa? And they go, well, I weren't. I was born here in the U.S. And then why are you African American? They're talking about their skin color being black. Well, I have some nieces that were born in Africa, and they're white. Okay? What do you do with that? We've got to get away from these things. We've got to be American and stop giving our ethnic background to associate with what kind of American as far as when it comes to race, because it's just incorrect. I'm not French American. I'm not Cajun American. No, I'm American. Okay? We have Chinese friends. They're Chinese. Yes, they're ethnic background, but they're American. Okay? So that's not really talking about our race. It's talking about ethnic background. But the census, okay, was really trying to divide up our country based on ethnic background. And it was sad to see the way some of those questions, how they were presented. And let me ask you this. What is the language of America? It's English. It's English. The census is in English, but it's also in Spanish. Now why? Why? Something's wrong. Something's not right. It should be in English, and that's it. Okay? That's the founding language. That's the language of our country. When you go to other countries, I lived in Brazil for many years. We lived in Mexico for a time also. I've been in other countries. But you know what? I had to get by on their language. In Brazil, we had to speak Portuguese. So I couldn't go in there and say, hey, y'all speak English because I want you to understand me. No, I had to speak Portuguese. Okay? It's the same thing. It should be here. Now, I know this gets under people's skin, and some of you are not going to like this, But we can't be politically correct just to please people because they feel like they should have different rights or different. No, we have the rights. It's based on our Constitution. It applies to all of us, Americans. And if you're not American, you can become an American. There's a legal way of doing that too. The United States is one of the greatest countries that still brings in immigrants, okay, to be legalized here. Okay, so why on the census did the Spanish-speaking community, why do they get favor over the other ethnic groups? Why don't they have I don't know, Wahili, or French or Chinese or Korean or whatever? Why don't they have those languages mixed in there? No, it's in Spanish and English. Okay, so these are things that we need to consider. And another thing on the census that they sent out, the requirement was to have it in, I believe, by the 1st of April of 2010. But they sent out these letters. It was passed. Okay, they sent out letters to remind you of stuff that was passed April the 1st. That you were supposed to fill that out. Well, that's true. You should have. But you had people filling it out prior to April the 1st because the date should have been based on your presence here in the United States on April 1st of 2010. What if you filled it out in May? That could be inaccurate. Okay? That's things that the Census Board, they need to consider these things. And there was a whole lot of issues that I put in there. It's just not right. So, are we racist? Yeah, we're for the human race. Okay? It's not ethnic background. Let's join together. Let's look through the eyes of Jesus. Let's see people as God's creation. The human race. That's who we are. We should be racist. Racism is based on the human race, not ethnic background. And we need to get rid of all this division that's taking place. Now, I know this is hard on many, but pray about it, think about it, and as always, make Jesus Lord of your life, and you won't have these issues. Okay? Be blessed, and as always, keep your eyes on Jesus.